Hi, everyone. Guess what? We are now within the last couple of weeks of the semester, and from this point forward, every author that we're going to read is still alive. So, for this entire semester, we've been reading authors that have long since passed away. But now we're going to read authors who are still living, and I think that you're going to find that very exciting. And so, we're going to start this week with Salman Rushdie. And Salman Rushdie was a man who was born in India. Now, why does that qualify as British literature? The year he was born, India was still a British territory. But then, when he was about 1 year old, India got its freedom from Great Britain. But still, he is a living author, and in addition to the fact that he's still alive, he also factors into the whole diversity thing. Because he's from India, he's not a white guy, he's not, British by association, but he is still relevant to British literature. Now, if you've ever heard of Salman Rushdie before, you've probably heard of something called the Satanic Verses. He has a bounty on his head from the Ayatollah Khomeini, who had taken over Iran after the big Muslim revolution in 1979. I don't think you would ever collect on that if you tried to murder him today. I think you would probably go to jail and spend the rest of your life there without getting a single cent. Because the people that took this little bounty out on him, which is called a fatwa, by the way, have long since died. But he still has to be careful about where he travels because of this. So he is an Indian national who was a British subject when he was born. And he writes two things that you're going to read this week. The British Indian Writer in a Dream, England, talks about, well, you know what? We write in English language. We are from India. We are kind of anomalies because, we aren't completely Indian and we're not completely British. So what are we? And so as you read this, bear that in mind, because it's the whole idea of, once one nation takes over another nation, how does one identify with him or herself nationally? So that's what the British Indian Writer in a Dream is about. And then The Prophet's Tale. I love this story. It's very entertaining. It's about like an antiques collector who gets a hold of a vial of hair that is supposed to be from the Prophet Muhammad. And it was a vial of hair that was stolen from a mosque, and the thieves died and they lost it, and he ends up finding it. And, here's the thing about this. What is Indian literature? What is British literature? This Prophet's Hair kind of combines the two. And it raises many questions like, what is the right thing to do if one gets a hold of a religious artifact? Or what is the right thing to do as far as one's religious beliefs? Can one go overboard with that? And I think you're going to find that the man in this story that is an antiques collector does go overboard with his Muslim beliefs once he gets a hold of this vial of hair. And it changes him. There's some mysticism about this. There is a magic that is somehow related to this hair follicle. So, I hope you enjoyed this week's readings, and I hope that as you read these, you'll understand that British literature is not just what writers in England have written or writers in Ireland have written, but in this case, what writers in an India that was being under the dominion of the British Crown have to write when they write their stories too.